Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. One, two, short. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. विष्णुपादष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमातव चरण अरविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। जय विष्णुपादष्टोत्तर श्री श्री शिल भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। जय विष्णुपादष्टोत्तर श्री शिल गौर किशोर दास बाबाजी महाराज की जय। नामाचार्य शिल हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तविंद की जय। श्री श्री मायापुर धाम की जय। श्री श्री नवद्वीप वृंदावन धाम की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गंगा माई जमुना माई तुलसी महारानी भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र की जय। निसिंह बराह देव की जय। भक्त प्रवर श्री श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव बिंदु की जय। हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to the Saddle Satsang. So, we'll have one round of chanting with Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare
हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की Thank you, devotees. So today we have our beloved Shyam Kumar Dasa. So Shyam Kumar Das is an initiated disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj and has been practicing Krishna consciously for more than 2 decades. He has played various roles at ISKCON Philadelphia. At ISKCON Philadelphia, he was a vice president. As we all know that he was also a board member, a festival committee member, and a Rath Yatra committee vice chairman. He was spearheading cooking or the Sunday feast too. He is preaching Krishna consciousness according to his capacity in ISKCON Philadelphia. He also plays a vital role in spreading the Krishna consciousness at Bensalem Bhakti Center, where we all gather on the Saturdays. His wife is initiated disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. They have a wonderful Krishna conscious daughter, 4 years old, Urja. So I welcome Shyam Kumar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo 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 Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswati Vyasam
Tatho Jayamudiraye
Tato Jayamudiraye
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki
Nama Sankirtanam Yasya
Nama Sankirtanam Yasya
Sarva Papa Pranashanam
Sarva Papa Pranashanam
Pranamo Dukkha Shamanaha
Pranamo Dukkha Shramanaha
Tam Namami Harim Param
Tam Namami Harim Param
Nama Sankirtanam Yasya
Nama Sankirtanam Yasya
Sarva Papa Pranashanam
Sarva Papa Pranashanam
Pranamo Dukkha Shamanaha
Pranamo Dukkha Shramanaha
Tam Namami Harim Param
Tam Namami Harim Param
Nama Sankirtanam Yasya
Nama Sankirtanam Yasya
Sarva Papa Pranashanam
Sarva Papa Pranashanam
Pranamo Dukkha Shamanaha
Pranamo Dukkha Shramanaha
Tam Namami Harim Param
Tam Namami Harim Param.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming. I've sent the verse to Bensalem Bhakti Vriksha. Please open the verse. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, fourth chapter, text number 5. Please repeat. Drishvanupayantam vrishim atmajam apyanagnam Devyo hriya paridadurna sutasya chitram Tadviksha pruchati munau jagadustavasti स्त्रीपुंविदः न तु सुतस्य विविक्तदृष्टेः दृष्ट्वानुयन्तं ऋषिमात्मजमप्यनग्नम् देव्यो ह्रियपरिदधुर्न सुतस्य चित्रम् तद्वीक्ष्य पृच्छति मुनौ जगदुस्तवास्ति स्त्रीपुंविदः न तु सुतस्य विविक्तदृष्टेः दृष्ट्वानुयान्तं ऋषिमात्मजमप्यनग्नम् देव्यो ह्रियपरिदधुर्न सुतस्य चित्रम् तद्वीक्ष्य पृच्छति मुनौ जगदुस्तवास्ति स्त्रीपुंविदः न तु सुतस्य विविक्तदृष्टेः Anyone wants to repeat? दृष्ट्वानुयान्तं ऋषिमात्मजमप्यनग्नम् देव्यो ह्रियपरिदधुर्न सुतस्य चित्रम् तद्वीक्ष्य पृच्छति मुनौ जगदुस्तवास्ति स्त्रीपुंविदः न तु सुतस्य विविक्तदृष्टेः दृष्ट्वानुयान्तं ऋषिमात्मजमपि अनग्नम् देव्यो ह्रियपरिदधुर्न सुतस्य चित्रम् तद्वीक्ष्य पृच्छति मुनौ जगदुस्तवास्ति स्त्रीपुंविदः न सुतस्य विविक्तदृष्टेः. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. While Sri Vasudeva was following his son, beautiful young damsels who were bathing naked covered their bodies with cloth. Although Sri Vasudeva himself was not naked, but they had not done so when his son had passed. The sage inquired about this, and the young ladies replied that his son was purified and when looking at them made no distinction between male and female, that the sage made such distinctions. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita 5.18, it is said that a learned sage looks equally on a learned and gentle Brahmana, a Chandala dog eater, a dog, or a cow due to his spiritual vision. Srila Shukadeva Goswami attained that stage. Thus, he did not see a male or female. He saw all living entities in different dress. The ladies who were bathing could understand the mind of a man simply by studying his demeanor. Just as by looking at a child, one can understand how innocent he is. Shukadeva Goswami was a young boy, 16 years old, and therefore all the parts of his body were developed. He was naked also, and so were the ladies. But because Shukadeva Goswami was transcendental to sex relations, he appeared very innocent. The ladies by their special qualifications, could sense this at once, and therefore they were not very concerned about him. But when his father passed, the ladies quickly dressed. The ladies were exactly like his children or grandchildren, yet they reacted to the presence of Vyasadeva according to the social custom because Srila Vyasadeva played the part of a householder. A householder has to distinguish between a male and female, otherwise, he cannot be a householder. One should therefore attempt to know the distinction between body and soul without any attachment for the male and female. As long as such distinction is there, one should not try to become a sannyasi like Shukadeva Goswami. At least, theoretically, one must be convinced that a living entity is neither male nor female. The outward dress is made of matter by material nature to attract the opposite sex and thus keep one entangled in material existence. A liberated soul is above this perverted distinction. He does not distinguish between one living being and another. For him, they are all one and the same spirit. The perfection of this spiritual vision is the liberated stage, and Srila Shukadeva Goswami attained that stage. Srila Vyasadeva was also in the transcendental stage, but because he was in the householder's life, he did not pretend to be a liberated soul as a matter of custom. ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिधि नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे। Hare Krishna, thank you again for all coming. So maybe in the next 25 minutes we can discuss about this verse, continuation of our verse from the last week. So Shaunaka Muni is glorifying Suta Goswami, Shukadeva Goswami, while speaking to all the assembled sages in the presence of Suta Goswami. So we are in Naimisharanya. Suta Goswami has arrived and he started listening to the questions from the sages, and then in the last 3 chapters he has answered sages' questions, and then he said, I'm going to speak now Srimad Bhagavatam, which he had heard Shukadeva Goswami speak to Parikshit Maharaj. Now Shaunaka Muni, who's the head of the Gurukul, is all excited because he wants to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. So he's up now, and then he glorified in the last 2 verses he started glorifying Srila Vyasadeva, who compiled Srimad Bhagavatam, and starting from last verse for the next 4 verses, starting from verse number 4 till 8, 5 verses, Shaunaka Muni is glorifying Shukadeva Goswami, so that we understand who Shukadeva Goswami is and what his qualification is. Once we understand Shukadeva Goswami and how great a devotee is, then we get actually attached to the words that he speaks. So that is the intent. So now, it's interesting, in this verse he's talking about a part where Shukadeva Goswami is walking away from his house. His father, Vyasadeva, is following him, and Shukadeva Goswami is 16 years at this age, and he is Digambara. He is always naked, he never wore any clothes. So he's walking away, and then on the way there is a pond where these young damsels, they are taking bath, and obviously they don't have any clothes on them. Now when they are walking, Shukadev Goswami is walking past, and then these young ladies, they don't even get disturbed. They're not perturbed, they're not distracted, they're not disturbed. They're just going about doing what they were doing. They completely ignored Shukadev Goswami was there. Now, right behind him, when Vyasadeva is passing, they all quickly come up and then cover themselves. Now, Vyasadeva was surprised because, as Srila Prabhupada points out, Vyasadeva is the age of their father or grandfather. So he's saying, my son was passing by and he is young, not covered. Obviously, the sense objects and senses, they get attracted, right? So when he was passing by, why you didn't react the way you reacted when I passed by, right? So he was surprised. Again, disclaimer, Vyasadeva is Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. So we should never come under the illusion that Srila Vyasadeva had this doubt and he was not transcendental. This is only for our lessons, for us to learn. So we have to always remember, whenever such situations come, Supreme Lord is never under the ignorance. So the moment we start thinking Supreme Lord is under any ignorance, illusion, then we haven't even started understanding the Supreme Lord. Because the goal of our life is to understand the Supreme Lord, right? So for us to understand the greatness of Shukadev Goswami, to highlight the greatness of Shukadev Goswami, what liberation stage he was in. Srila Vyasadeva is asking these women, these ladies, oh, why are you covering up now? When my son passed, you didn't cover up. So then these ladies say, oh, your son does not distinguish between a male body or a female body, because he is innocent. Just like a small baby, a week old, month old, few days old baby, that baby has no sense of male body or female body, right? It's innocent. And that innocence is because of ignorance, because the baby doesn't know, right? But in case of Shukadev Goswami, the innocence is not because of ignorance. The innocence is because of his transcendental state, where he has transcended the three modes. We all actually have this conception of senses getting attracted to the sense objects. Now, Shukadev, we have senses, right? We can see, we can hear, we can touch, we can taste, we can smell. These are all the senses, right? Now, these senses, the way they are designed is they are attracted to the sense objects. Now, Shukadev Goswami had all these senses. There were sense objects, women, young damsels, and they were naked, taking bath, right? It's there. But then the way it is designed is it gets automatically attracted, because that is how it is designed. Material energy is designed that way, right? But then Shukadev Goswami, that reaction didn't happen, right? The senses did not get automatically attracted to the sense objects. Now why? That is the important question. That is what Srila Vyasadeva is trying to highlight here. So the women, they understood that your son is not under the influence of the modes of nature. He is not under the mode of goodness, not under the mode of passion, not under the mode of ignorance. The three modes that we are subjected to, mode of goodness, ignorance and passion, right? Any of us at any given time, we have a mixture of these modes. But Shukadev Goswami, he has transcended, he has completely gone over, and is able to control these modes by himself. So that is why he is not affected, and these ladies could see that. So it cannot be, it's not something that one can act. It is something that is inbuilt, just like, Srila Prabhupada, when people saw him just walk by, there were like disciples of him remembering Prabhupada was like effulgent, he was glowing, and we got immediately attracted to him, right? Prabhupada didn't even speak a word. Why? Because it's inbuilt. This is natural when somebody reaches that stage. That aura somebody actually emits when they reach that stage. So these women could sense that. That's why it didn't disturb them. It didn't really affect them, right? They were doing what they were doing, right? But then when Srila Vyasadeva passed by, they actually, this is again part of Vyasadev's Leela. We have to understand it this way so that Vyasadeva could highlight how exalted Shukadeva Goswami was, what kind of, transcendental state he was, right? So then Vyasadeva is asking, why did you do it? So that they are explaining, because you as a Grihastha, householder, you have to distinguish between a male and a female body. Now, Grihasthas in Varnashrama system has two main responsibilities. One is what? They have to engage in progeny generation, right? They have to have children. That is one. Second thing is, Grihasthas are responsible solely for taking the responsibility of other ashramas. They have to earn, they have to do karma so that they can support brahmacharis, they can support vanaprasthas, they can support sannyasis. So that is the main part of Grihasthashram. Now, if you want to generate progeny, you have to distinguish between male and female, right? So that is why they said, okay, because you are acting in that as a custom, we had to cover ourselves, right? But Shukadeva Goswami was completely detached. So this is what the theme for today is, right? Now, Shukadeva Goswami was completely detached. What makes that detachment happen, right? Because, if we step back, again, time and again, I want to go back to this, the basics. Our purpose here in the human form of life is to go back to spiritual world, Godhead, right? Now, in order to do that, we have a process. The first part of the process is that we have to understand we are not this material body, we are not this material energy, but we are the spirit soul, right? But then it's not easy. We've heard this millions of times. We are not able to understand. We are not able to perceive that, right? There is something that is stopping us from getting to that realization. So if we hear and theoretically start on that, hear about Shukadeva Goswami who is on that stage, theoretically start about it, right? That is, we are making a little bit of incremental progress. So that is the purpose, right? Now, Shukadeva Goswami has senses. He had sense objects, right? Now, his mind did not get distracted, and that demeanor didn't even distract or obstruct the others also, right? Why? Because his mind was always on Krishna's lotus feet. So there is this verse in Upanishad. It says, "Mana eva manushyanam karanam, mana eva manushyanam karanam, bhanda mokshayoho." Right? So mana, our mind, is the one that is the reason. Manushyanam bhanda mokshayaha. Right? Now we are all bound to what? This material body. Right? What is the reason? Mind. Why? Mind, through the medium of senses, is trying to enjoy sense objects, right? We have 10 senses. Through that medium, it's trying to enjoy sense object. So it says, bandhaya, when we are bound, the mind is bound to enjoying the sense object. Then it says vishaya sangha. That means the sense objects, we are getting attached to the sense objects, right? The mind is getting attached to the sense object. How do we release, how do we liberate ourselves? Muktae nirvishayam manaha. So the mind, it has to detach from the senses, from the sense objects. Then it becomes possible. One great example that is given is, you've seen the coconut, right? Now coconut, if you just let it sit, all the water inside evaporates. After that, what happens? Slowly from the shell, even if you don't break the coconut, from the shell within, the meat of the coconut, it actually detaches itself, right? It actually detaches itself. So it's only a matter of time for it to go through that process. So that is the process that Srimad Bhagavatam puts us through, right? Mind is like this. We are all bound. We cannot distinguish our mind from intelligence to our senses to our needs to our enjoyment, right? It's all like, the thick binding that the coconut meat has with the coconut shell. That is the situation that we are in right now, right? But slowly through Srimad Bhagavatam, constant hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, right? What happens? Slowly that attachment gets detached. That is the process of our advancement. We have to get to that stage, right? So Bandhaya Vishaya Sangha. Now, as long as we are bound, our senses are bound to get attracted to the sense objects, right? But when nirvishayam manaha, when does mind become detached? Muktaihi, when we try to actually get detached from, right? Then the mind slowly releases itself and then it gets detached, right? Now, Bhagavad Gita has a very good example like how we can do that. Like, the mind is the center where we think we are enjoying, right? Whether it is seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching, it's all because it's going to the mind. The mind is, actually sending us signals, do this, you'll feel happy, do this, you'll feel happy, right? We are all engaged in, that is what the sense gratification is, right? Now, this is different for a liberated soul like Shukadeva Goswami. How is it different? Actually, Arjuna asks this question. In second chapter Bhagavad Gita to Krishna, Arjuna is asking, Stita pragnasya ka bhasha, samadhistasya keshava, stitadi kim prabhasheta kim asita vrajetake. He's saying, Stita pragnasya ka bhasha. What are the symptoms of Stita pragna? Stita means situated, pragna means transcendental. One who is transcendentally situated, that means one who is liberated. What are his symptoms? How does he act? That is the question. So the first thing that Lord Krishna says as an answer, he says, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan. Krishna is saying, kaman, our desires, why we are bound life after life to these material bodies? Because of our desires. Now these kaman, sarvan, like all these desires, if one is able to, right, sarvan kaman prajahati, these kamans, what they are doing, manogatan, they are the one that actually we are thinking is giving us pleasure, right? The mind is making us think I'm this body. The mind is the one that is binding us to enjoy, right? Manogatan, the kama, the desires, they are actually propelling us to think I'm this body, I want to enjoy, right? Like Mataji mentioned last week, there was this person who was saying the world is created for us to enjoy, right? Why? Because of the kama, right? So Krishna is saying, jahati, when you take these kamans, all these desires, and then when you throw them away, jahati literally means you throw them, right? Prajahati, he says prakrushta, right? Means completely when you throw them away, right? When you throw them away, then what happens? You start getting detached, right? Now we are attached, then you slowly start controlling. Now this is the essence of the four regulative principles that we follow, all the process that we do, right? Slowly, gradually we get detached from these desires, so that when we reach a state of transcendence, a purification, then we are actually we are actually detached, right? So first thing we have to pay attention is how we can reduce our bodily needs. And this is one of the things, like I remember still Yugal Kishore Prabhu, right? Now, if you're doing on Janmashtami, Krishna Janmashtami, full day fast, Nirjal fast, right? At 12 o'clock night is when you have to break the fast. Now at 11:30 somebody comes and then he's saying something that you don't like, right? He's saying something that's nasty, right? What do you say? You say, Prabhu, please leave me, I have to go for the arti, right? Because you don't have energy, your senses are weak at that time. So you don't even have energy to react. What do you do then? Like, because your senses are weak, they are not responding the way you would have otherwise responded when your senses were strong, right? So the initial purpose of Ekadashi is so that you can withdraw senses from the outside sense object engagements and then focus exclusively on Krishna. That is why no cooking also, right? You don't have to worry about anything, right? So that is why when all these desires, you constantly think that I have to start giving up each one by one, right? Then you are getting slowly detached, right? There's one thing that helps though. What is it? In the next line, Krishna is saying that Atmani eva atmana tushtaha sthita pragnas tathojyate, right? Now he says Atmani eva atmana tushtaha. Now Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtat akarmakrit, right? Now if we say I do not want to desire anything, I do not want to act for any desire, right? Immediately it's not possible. You have to act. You have to perform your activities every day, right? Get up early and then do your morning duties. Then you have to do whatever you're doing, office, the family, the social obligations, all these things you have to do, right? Now, you cannot escape from doing all this, right? Now, when you're doing all these things, these desires will come, right? How do I engage my mind, right, without succumbing to these desires? So Krishna is saying that also. Atmana eva, atmani eva, atmana tushtaha. Tushtaha means you make the atmana, means here mind, tushtaha, you satisfy the mind by engaging the mind atmani. Atmani here means in the Supreme Lord. So this is devotional service, right? Now when you slowly develop this skill where your mind is constantly engrossed on Krishna's lotus feet, only about hearing about Krishna's glories, about Krishna's pastimes, about how his devotees interacted with him, how his devotees glorified him, right? Slowly when you're doing, the happiness that you derive otherwise by engaging your senses with the sense objects, that happiness seems very minute compared to the happiness that you will derive by engaging your senses in thinking about Krishna. This is this is the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam, that it impels us to think about Krishna, to talk about Krishna, to meditate about Krishna. And when we practice this, right, slowly our mind doesn't find any taste in any of the material, objects. Now I remember when I came to US, TV, every day I know what, evenings when I come back from the office, every day what channel, what time, what show, this, I knew every day, like that was my day, like I would just watch. I was attached to football, I was attached to basketball, I knew which teams were winning, rooting for which team, right? But then once I started chanting, slowly engaging my mind in getting attracted to Krishna's pastimes, automatically without any effort, they actually went away. I didn't have any taste for them, right? Why? Param drishtva nivartate. If we find a higher taste, the lower taste itself will give up, right? So atmani eva, right? So if we engage our mind constantly in Krishna's lotus feet, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's glories, our mind actually gets tushtaha, gets satisfied. And that is the only way we can engage our mind, right? And actually Shukadeva Goswami says this. This is how he acquired this status of liberated state, right? No, Shukadeva Goswami, when he was born, he was a liberated soul, right? He was born liberated, but then he was attached to the conception of impersonal Brahman, Nirakara Brahma. He didn't get attached to the personal form of Krishna. He was only thinking about the Supreme as some source of light, some energy, and I want to get attached to it, right? So in the second chapter, Shukadeva Goswami himself, when he starts answering Parikshit Maharaj, we'll come to that, he himself talks about this, saying that, he's saying, Parinishtito api nairgunye. He's saying, I was parinishta, means nishta, I was fixed, completely fixed in nairgunya, means I had transcended the three modes, the mode of goodness, passion and ignorance. Parinishthitopi nairgunye. Even though I was completely fixed and transcended about the three modes, right? He says, Uttama Shloka Leelaya. The Leelas of Krishna, Uttama Shloka is one other name for Krishna. He says, when I heard Uttama Shloka Leela, Gruhita Cheta Rajarshe. He's saying, Rajarshi, oh Parikshit Maharaj, Gruhita Cheta, my mind, Cheta, was captured by what? Uttama Shloka Leelaya. He says, I was engaged in the meditation on Nirakar Brahma. But then when I heard about Krishna's pastimes, about Krishna's Leelas, his beauty, right? He says, Grihita Cheta, my mind was captured. And then he says, I could not stop myself. And then there is a very beautiful pastime, how this happens, how Shukadeva Goswami was actually changed or transformed from an impersonal meditation yogi to a personalist, bhakta, right? So it's a very interesting story, like, connected to this verse. So Shukadeva Goswami is born, like he's walking away, his father is following him, but this talks about like passing through this pond where these women were taking bath and all that. Then Shukadeva Goswami actually goes into the forest because he didn't want to do anything with the connections, bodily connections. Just like the Bharat Maharaj story, right? Bharat Maharaj, when he was born as Jada Bharata, he understood his previous lives. In previous life, he was a deer. Why? Because the previous life to that, he got attached to the deer. So then, when he was born as Jada Bharata, he totally wanted to encapsulate himself from all the relationships. So when he was born, even though he knew everything, he acted as if he couldn't hear, like he was deaf, dumb, he was dull, like he wouldn't, like, people would think like, he is good for nothing, right? Why? Because he didn't want to engage himself in these relationships. So same here with Shukadeva Goswami. So he just left everything, right? He went into the forest and then he would just stay there, like, meditating on this impersonal Brahman. Now, Vyasadeva, just like a father, he's acting and he's like, I want my son, I want him to come back. So Vyasadeva devised a plan. He called all his disciples. He taught them some shlokas from Srimad Bhagavatam. Very beautiful pastimes, like, 2 slokas that we'll discuss. And then he said, go to the forest, make sure that Shukadeva Goswami doesn't see you, because the moment Shukadeva Goswami sees some human beings, he would just escape from there. He didn't want to be seen, or he didn't want to interact with anyone. So he says, go to the forest in the guise of as if like you're collecting some sticks for yajna, something that you want to do for here, and stay away a little distance from Shukadeva Goswami, that he doesn't run away. But then when you are in the hearing distance from him, recite these shlokas. And then when you recite this, we will see what happens, right? So then they keep trying, and then there is one time when Shukadeva Goswami is sitting and then meditating on Nirakar Brahma, and then they go nearby and then they see, okay, this is a moment, let's recite the shlokas. There are 2 shlokas, very sweet shlokas that they start reciting. The first shloka, it's from the 10th canto in Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is where Krishna and Balaram, along with all the Gopas, they're actually walking into the Vrindavan forests along with their cows, and then Krishna is beautifully dressed. He's playing on his flute and he's walking. All the friends of him are like, dancing, singing, they're walking with him. Krishna is walking through, and then the gopis, the young gopis, they saw this, that Krishna is walking, his beautiful gait and his demeanor, and then the flute sound of his flute, the sweet sound of his flute. And it said that, like, the calves would stop, like, when they hear the flute. And then the river Yamuna would stop flowing. The cows would stand, like, when they're eating the grass, they would just stand, like, people that would see this, they would think maybe it's a painting, because nothing is moving. Because that is how sweet Krishna's flute was sounding, right? So this description of the shloka, which says, when Krishna was coming along with his Gopa friends in Vrindavan forest, how beautiful he looked, how beautiful his form was, right? So this is one shloka that they start reciting. Very beautiful shloka. They say, Barha Pidam Natavaravapu Karnayo Karnikaram Bibratvasaha Kanakakapisham Vaijayantim Chamalam Randran Venor Adhara Sudaya Randran Venor Adhara Sudaya Purnayan Gopa Vrindaihi Vrindaranyam Svabada Charanam Shavishat Gita Kirtihi. So they are saying Krishna is entering the forest, right? With what? Gopa Vrindaihi, Pravishat, Vrindaranyam. So Aranyam, they are entering with Krishna. So how does Krishna look? Like say Barha Pidam. He's wearing Barha, the peacock feather. His head is decorated with the peacock feather. And then Natavara Vapu, like his all friends are dancing around him, singing around him. But Krishna is walking with the flute is in hand, right? Just his walking is so beautiful that it is Natavara, the best of the dancers. Like how they walk, like that Krishna is walking. And then Karnayo Karnikaram, his both ears, it has blue Karnikara flowers. So beautifully looking. And then Krishna is, what is he wearing? It says Kanaka Kapisham. Kanaka is gold. Kapisham is yellow. Bhibrat Vasaha. Vasava is wearing bright yellow dhoti, golden yellow dhoti. And then Vaijayantim Chamala has Vaijayanti Mala around his neck, right? Now what is Krishna doing? It's saying Randhran Venur Adhara Sudhaya. So Sudhaya is the nectar. So the nectar of that is coming out from Adhara is lips, that is filling the Randhran of Venu, the holes of the Venu. And then now everything comes to a standstill when Krishna is playing Venu, right? Now they are describing this, and then suddenly Shukadeva Goswami opens his eyes. He's like, who is this beautiful person? No, he had never heard about the personal form of Krishna till then. He's like, who is this beautiful person? And then he's looking at them. Then they get the clue. Then they say, okay, let's sing the second verse, right? No, not only Krishna is looking beautiful, right? It's one thing, external appearance. But the nature of Krishna is so merciful. His nature, his forgiveness, his mercy is so huge, right? It's attractive to anybody else. So then they sing this second verse. The second verse again is from 3rd canto in Srimad Bhagavatham. So this is actually a conversation between Uddhava and Vidura. In the 3rd canto, when Mahabharat war, the Kurukshetra war is going to happen, Duryodhana actually insults Vidura. So Vidura gives up everything before the war starts, and then he goes on Tirthayatra. Now when he is roaming around, he meets Uddhava, and then he is inquiring about from Uddhava, how is Krishna, how is Yadus, please tell me about it. Now Uddhava is a great devotee of Krishna. The moment he heard Krishna's name, he went into trance, right? But then he comes out, and then he starts describing about Krishna. And from the various things that he describes, there is one description of Krishna to actually say how merciful he is. There is nobody that is even more merciful than Krishna. That is his nature, how forgiving he is, right? This is very attractive. So they sing that verse. It says, Aho bakiyam stanakala kutam jigham saya apyayad yapi asadvi Lebhe gatir datri uchitam yatanyam tatonyam kamba sharanam dayalum sharanam vrajena. So it says, who is this person, Krishna? How is he, right? It's saying he is the Dayalu, the most merciful, right? Why he is Dayalu? He says, Baki. They're saying it, I'm so surprised. Uddhava is saying, I'm surprised. Aho, right? He starts with it. Aho Bakiyam. Baki is Bakasura's sister, who is Putana, right? So Putana comes to Krishna with the intention of what? Jighayams, right? She's coming with the intention of Stana Kalakutam. She has smeared Kalakuta Visha on her breast that she wants to apayad, feed Krishna milk with what? Ashadvi, she was unfaithful desire to kill Krishna, right? Now what does Krishna do? When Putana walks in, Krishna knows her intention, even though she could deceive all the Gopas and Gopis. Why? Because she was dressed like, beautiful Apsara from the Swargaloka, right? But then Krishna saw, he knew who it was. He closed his eyes. And Acharyas explained, why he closed his eyes, because, he didn't want to actually see her, the hidden envious desires. But then Krishna said, okay, even then I'll give you something that's better, right? Why? I'll let you do what you have to do. Now, she fed Krishna her milk, right? Now, then what happened? Lebe Gatim. What destination Krishna gave Putana? Dhatru Uchitam. Dhatru is nurse, right? A mother nurses all of us, right? So, that position that is reserved for a mother, that position was given to Putana, right? Now, if somebody is coming to kill you, and if Krishna is able to give you a position of a mother in the spiritual world, they are saying, Kamva Dayalu. How can anyone else be more merciful than this person, right? Then Sharanam Rajema, right? That is the person that you want to go submit yourself, completely surrender to, right? Now, one thing we want to remember here, we do not want to think Krishna encourages one to actually cheat him, or give him poison, or kill him, right? Now, it might be seen on the surface as if Putana came and then, she wanted to kill Krishna, but still, if, she got the highest destination that one could get, a position of a mother in spiritual world, right? But Acharyas explain, it's not so. So, it shouldn't be taken as, okay, I'm also envious of Krishna, I can do anything, I can, hate Krishna, and then I'll still go back, right? That is not the intent, right? Actually, Srila Madhvacharya explains that there was, Putana had two personalities within her, right? A demon personality who is Taraka in the previous life. Taraka was killed in Ramayana by Lord Rama, right? That Taraka is the one that actually wanted to kill Krishna, right? The demoniac mentality is there, that doesn't go. But then there is also a backstory where Urvashi was cursed, and Urvashi was also residing in her body, right? And that Urvashi was the one that actually had that motherly love, wanting to feed Krishna. So Urvashi was sent back. This shloka clearly says that Dhatri Uchitam Lebe Gatim Dhatri Uchitam, that she was given the position of mother, right? That is there in the verse, right? How could Putana be given a position in the spiritual world? That cannot be explained. A demoniac person cannot be rewarded. It is just like, if you say, like in a school, right? You're a teacher. There are 50 students. There are some students that are very studious, they do their homework, they study hard, they come to the exam, they write, and then, you evaluate, and then they've written all the answers, you have to give them full mark, right? But then you cannot say about one other student, just because he's your student, he has come to the school, he has come to the exam, oh, he's also my student, I'll be equal to him. So let me also give him 100 A+. Let me also give this student A+, right? Who has worked hard, who has written all the exam answers. How can you give both of them A+, right? Those who do bhakti, I'll give them spiritual world. Those who do not do bhakti, they hate and they want to kill, they want to do demoniac, establish and express demoniac mentality. For them also I'll give you spiritual world. That's not going to work, right? It's not practical. So this is explained by Acharyas. So we have to understand, we cannot hate and go back to the spiritual world. We have to perform Krishna. That is the Sharanam part. That is, we have to surrender to Krishna. So the important part is what? We have to surrender to Krishna. Kamva Dayalum Sharanam Rajena. So Shukadeva Goswami took that surrender. So then Shukadeva Goswami comes up to them. He's like, how can this person be so merciful? Then he comes and asks them, who are you singing these things about? Who wrote this? Are there any more things that I want to hear? Then say, oh, did you like it? Then he says, yes. Okay, come to our Guru Maharaj. There are 18,000 of these. We'll take you there. And he was so happy. So he went, and then it's his father only. Then he sat, and then Vyasadeva gave him the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So this is the greatness of Shukadeva Goswami, and that is how Shukadeva Goswami is attached to Krishna so much, right? Why? Because from being impersonalist, meditating on Nirakara Brahma, he actually became a personalist, worshipping Krishna, right? Why? Because of the sweetness of Srimad Bhagavatam. And the important part is, unless we direct our minds to the lotus feet of Krishna, we cannot detach ourselves from the sense objects. Talking about how we can detach our minds, how we can make our minds attracted to Krishna. It is only possible through bhakti, through Srimad Bhagavatam, right? This is the only way we can actually get liberated. We have to think seriously about it. All of us here, we understand theoretically what is our goal. Our goal is we want to go back. Now we have to do our best to go back in this world, this life itself. Don't wait. Even though it is not in our hands, understand this one thing very clearly. We do not control when we go back, how we go back. Mukti pradayata iti mukunda. It is exclusively Krishna's right. We do not have any control on it. But what is Krishna? Dayalum. He is the most merciful, right? We have to make a resolve. Like Shukadeva Goswami here made a resolve. I want to hear about Krishna. We have to make a resolve. If we make a resolve, then Krishna provides a way, right? So it has to come from us. The resolve has to come from us. This life, I want to go back. What we have to do? We have, here we talked about the Grihastha Ashram customs, like Vyasadeva is representing. We all have those responsibilities, right? We have to do what we could do. At the same time, our focus has to be on Krishna. Just like when we are driving, if in the night, if we are driving, if inside there is light, right, we cannot see outside properly. So slowly we have to turn the inside light right inside the car. Why? I mean, this is akin to reducing our interactions with the sense objects, with our interactions with other things, anything that's not connected with Krishna. Slowly when we start reducing, to the extent that we make our resolve strong, to that extent Krishna helps. But our resolve has to be strong, that I want to Sharanam Rajena, I want to surrender to Krishna. How do we surrender? Through Srimad Bhagavatam. It's possible, right? So it's 7:30. Let's close. We'll take some reflections. And as Prabhu is saying, we want to congratulate both Mataji and Prabhuji for their Brahmin initiation last week. Very nice service attitude. Both of them have Rajesh Govind Prabhu and Muktidashi Mataji. So it's a special blessing that Guru Maharaj gives. So wonderful. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So we'll have some reflections from the devotees.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for a very, very wonderful class. Very, very nicely explained, Prabhu. I like the points where how that coconut, how when the senses are kind of engaged in something higher, then automatically the objects of sense gratification do not create any interest in you, and you kind of become detached. And that can be done by engaging your mind in the lotus feet of the Lord. And about the beautiful pastime of Shukdev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj and Vyasadeva, and about Shukdev Goswami being a Paramhamsa stage, because he was beyond the distinction of male and female, and how Vyasadeva, when he comes, that pastime, it was very nicely explained, Prabhuji. So thank you so much for a very wonderful class. Hare Krishna.
Well, since we are talking about liberation and going back to Added, Mataji mentioned about Paramahamsa. So, just for information, when we get to the stage of transcending the three modes, we all go back to the higher planetary systems. And then, the last one, and this is information that Srila Sanatan Goswami gives in Brihadamrita, Bhagavatam, no, Srimad, what is it? Srimad Brihadamrita, right? So we go back to Brihad Bhagavatam.
Brihad Bhagavatam.
Thank you, Mitesh. We go back to the Satyaloka. And Satyaloka also, there are three different categories. This all comes back to what we desire. How our resolution, has to be designed, has to be strong, right? If we desire to want to go back to Krishna immediately, right? The Paramahamsa stage one who has reached, they have a free ticket. Basically, anytime they can go back to the spiritual world. Anytime they desire. Then there is one other category where they actually reside with Brahmaji, and then they can actually decide when they want to go back. But then they have to stay there till a certain period. The third category is there are devotees that have transcended this stage, that they have to wait till 100 years of Brahma, and when Brahma goes back, all those devotees go back with Brahma to the spiritual world. So very interesting. So read up about Brihad Bhagavatamrita and make your resolution. So you pick which one you want.
The
And
first
Krishna will
one,
go-
Prabhu, is definitely, if you have given a choice, yeah, then the first one. And Vyasadeva was in the Hamsa stage, because he had that distinction, like how this is what I had heard in
Shukadeva Goswami.
not Shukadev, Vyasadeva.
Okay.
He was, I've heard this in a class. He was on the Hamsa stage, like how a swan, if the milk and water are mixed together, the swan will only drink the milk and leave the water away. So the swan has that distinction. The swan can distinguish between milk and water. So Vyasadeva was on that stage, and Shukadeva Goswami was on a higher stage. So he was Paramahamsa.
Right. So Vyasadeva, again, this information is from Srila Madhvacharya. So it's a post, just like Prime Minister. Now, in the 28th Yuga cycle that we are in, this is Ashtam Vishvitata. This particular Manvantara, a Yuga cycle is Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. This is one Yuga cycle. Like that, 28 Yuga cycles have happened. We are in the 28th cycle in Dwapara Yuga. Like this, the current Manu has 71 Yuga cycles. Now in the 28th Yuga cycle, for the post of Vyasadeva, Supreme Personality himself has come. So this is the fourth time in this Manvantara, Vyasadeva has come himself, the Supreme Lord himself has come as Vyasadeva. Yeah. So it's applicable when Vyasadeva isn't
Okay, the Supreme Personality.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
thank
that's
you. Thank you.
applicable.
Thank you for clarifying this. I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I also have a question, but let them first share the realization.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. It was a very wonderful class. So just like Mataji was saying about the point, like you said about the coconut, so we can get detached, like how coconut get detached from the shell, the meat. So just like that, like Bhagavatam helps us to detach from the all attachment. And also I like that point you made, like about the Madhav Tithis, like when we fast, and then if someone says something, we cannot react because our senses are weak. And this point, so we want to be more relate to Krishna, not the person whatever he's saying. So this is very nice when we do fasting to remember this point. It's really nice. And other things, just now I forgot, but it was very nice. Yes, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Guruji. Very nice explanation. That was the most which touched me was how Srimad Bhagavatham, when he was an impersonalist, was for Brahman, the moment he heard the sweetness of Bhagavatam, Krishna's pastimes, how he immediately turned and was so eager to know who is that. That is how the sweetness of Krishna's lotus feet is. The moment we surrender unto Krishna's lotus feet, it immediately we can relish the nectar, which is I'm unable to explain that. It is that's what our His Holiness Dayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj always says. They think that this is the last life. We should never come back into this world again. So that's how we have to get attached to the Krishna's lotus feet, surrender unto him, and know how Krishna is so dayalu that we should go to him. We have to take it very seriously, like how Sukadeva Goswami took the sweetness of Bhagavatam. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so Krishna's sweetness is ever existing. It's unfortunate that we cannot taste it, right? Just like honey is there inside the bottle, and if we are trying to lick honey from outside, we do not taste the sweetness. Unfortunate, but then we have to actually start somewhere, engaging our mind in hearing about Krishna. So that sweetness, the taste for Krishna's pastimes gradually develops, right? But then initially we may not see that taste, we may not see that. How do we know we are getting purified? How do we know we are advancing? To the extent we develop that attachment to Krishna, to that taste for Krishna. The moment we hear, oh, there is Krishna Katha happening, then if we feel, I want to go there, I want to hear Krishna Katha, that means to that extent we are getting purified. That means the bottle, the thickness is getting thinner and thinner, right? One day, that whole bottle surface may disappear and we can directly taste Krishna. But then at least till that point, we do not taste Krishna's sweetness. But if we feel like, I want to go hear Krishna's stories, I want to go to temple, I want to see Krishna's deities, right? So to the extent that we feel that attraction, to that extent we are getting purified, and to that extent we are advancing. So that is one indication of how we are advancing in our spiritual life. And everything is pegged on, depends on our chanting. If our chanting 16 rounds, perfect, where we are hearing constantly, we are pronouncing constantly, that purifies us, and that purification connects us with Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thanks for the wonderful class, it's very nice. So today's my takeaway lessons will be as a part of our daily activities, we are engaged in so many things. So we have to detach our mind from the sense objects by reading Bhagavatam and constantly remembering Lord Krishna, surrendering to him, and minimize our desires.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I just learned household and Sukdev Goswami sage. They have lot of difference. Household is cannot distinct male and female. He has but Sukdev Goswami has no very innocent. He is not under the modes, so he cannot male female all at the same room, and his mind is his mind is always attached with Krishna. And on one more thing, when we fast, we just we don't we do fasting, but sometimes we don't realize why we are our senses are weak, so we cannot do argue or anything. Yeah, but I didn't know that. Yeah, so it is good. So fasting is good too. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. we are talking about how a small baby is unable to distinguish between a male and female body, right? Now, one who is in the stage of Shukdev Goswami, because of their exalted position, they have that same innocence. I remember Srila Prabhupada's pastime, where there is a video, like Prabhupada Memories. His disciples are asking, like, they're trying to record Prabhupada's singing, like Kirtan, and then they're saying that because of the time constraint or whatever, they wanted to record the music separately on a track, and then they said, Prabhupada will record your voice separately and then we'll mix it. Then Prabhupada seemed like confused, like he's like, my father wanted me to learn all these things. He wanted me to go to London to become a barrister, but you do whatever you want. I do not understand all these things. You could see the innocence in Prabhupada's face, right? Childlike innocence. So that happens when somebody is advanced, right? It's not childish innocence, it is childlike innocence. Prabhupada knew everything, right? But then, his heart had advanced so much that Prabhupada's smile, Prabhupada's demeanor, everything was, was like a child. I remember that. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Today's my takeaway is like we learn about Sukadeva Goswami. He is not under any mode, so he's like just transcendental, right? And also like we have to detach our mind from any material desire, because we are not a body, we are just spirit soul, so we have to detach our mind from material desire.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, the nice session about like he was not in mode of ignorance or like immature kind of, but he really went to the stage of transcendental modes and everything. So he don't see it like a male or female. He see like everyone as a soul. Like compared to that, Guru Vyasdev was like from coming from Vyasdev, and he had like he see as a material for everything. So that's the difference. Like in our life, we have to make a strong resolve to committed to make our life, Krishnamay, so we can get more and more focused on that, so we get less focused on our material part and desire.
Thank you, Guruji. Yeah, that's one of the ways Varnashrama system was established. Our worldly engagements have to be gradually decreased, right? That is where from Grihasashrama to Vanaprasthashram, that 25 years was for that gradual dissociation. And then the actual real engagement with Krishna's lotus feet takes place in the sannyas ashram, which was the fourth state, right? So unfortunately, in this age, it's difficult to follow that. But to the extent that we can follow, without even the formal classification, we should make our best efforts. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. My reflection for today is that between last week's verse, which was 1.4.4, and this week's verse, 1.4.5, there's a common theme of looking at living beings and seeing beyond their material attributes and seeing that they're all, they all have a soul, a spirit, and focusing on that and a part of Krishna that resides in each and every one of them. And that extends to today's verse as well, how Sukadeva Goswami was able to see beyond male or female, which is a material characteristic, and focus on the soul in every living entity.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, it was a nice lecture, and as you discussed, like the power of Srimad Bhagavatam or Lord Krishna's, like how Swami Sukadeva Swami creates transcendental form, and that form to make like a detachable, sensible object to control the mind. So what our current situation is like. By hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, we can make like detachable of some sensible object that in ongoing on our life. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu is very beautiful class. Yeah, I just catch this thing lastly you said like Oho Bokyam, Stono Kalakutam. This one especially for I like it. You explain nicely. We do not follow this for the whoever enemy like the Putana she did. She fed her breast, but we should be follow our acharya like how to love Krishna, not in the hatest mood, something like this. This is I like it, especially their mood is different, but Krishna also so merciful. That's why he give him the nurses the position of this Putana. But it's not all the time. This is that's why we have to love Krishna. This if we go to our in a perfect position, then we can get our three moods about the three moods.
What did you say about my grandpa? Mike Tyson special?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for wonderful class today. Is that okay if I can ask you anything in Hindi? प्रभु जी मुझे थोड़ा कंफ्यूजन था कि जैसे आपने बताया कि बच्चा होता है वो इनोसेंट होता है, राइट? तो देन बच्चा होता है वो बुद्धि मनुष्य मतलब बुद्धि से इनोसेंट होता है या ज्ञान या उसकी उम्र से वो इनोसेंट होता है? क्योंकि कई बार होता है कुछ लोग होते हैं उनकी बुद्धि का विकास नहीं हुआ होता है, तो वो कुछ ऐसे कार्य करते हैं तो बोलते हैं कि नहीं इसको ज्ञान नहीं है। तो मतलब किस तरह से वो मनुष्य या प्राणी इनोसेंट होता है और कुछ कार्य करने के बाद हम समझ सकते हैं कि इनोसेंट है या ये नहीं है, तो वो कैसे हम डिफाइन कर सकते हैं? हाउ कैन वी डिफाइन दैट? थैंक यू सो मच।
Reflection.
Couple of points today for takeaway. First is how we can be for the coconut. Attachment is very very important. And how important is to hear Arpil about Krishna, which is also very important point. I want to share one thing 2 years back maybe we can say in my car mostly I play the songs, all the new songs I used to play. Okay, and when we get into Krishna consciousness, right, slowly right, all that playlist is gone, and it's 2 years only we play Krishna or class or anything, right? So which feel internally some happiness, to be honest, right? I think the last 1 year I haven't watched even a trailer of I don't know even which movie is coming or something like that. I have no interest, to be honest. It's not like that I don't want to watch it, but there is no interest come from inside. So you're right that we should slowly go into this and increase our Krishna consciousness as much as we can. Okay, and the other two examples you gave, those two stories, they are very very excellent story. One of the time I was just thinking about the clothes and everything, so it is very thank you so much.
Yeah, the important part is association. So just like the Mumbai trains, right? You just put yourself in the right place and then you're inside the train. I don't have the experience, but I've heard, right? So if at least we get ourselves to the devotee associations, right? Like now 45 minutes we heard. So this is actually detaching a little bit, like the coconut part that we heard. Somewhere, there is an impact. So at least if these 45 minutes we spend, and reflect, it actually goes deep into the heart and it comes out. The seed is sown, it comes out somewhere, sometime. Thank you, Krish.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, I have a question. Can I ask? I don't know.
Anybody online? Yeah, let's see if anybody's online.
Prabhuji, you said that in Putana, that she was Tataka, and Urvashi also was there. Prabhuji, how Urvashi got cursed and became like a demoness? I've never heard, I mean, I'm hearing it for the first time.
I don't remember the story. I'll try to recollect the story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or you can, kind of
Yeah.
send it on the group.
So she was there present. It's not that she had demoness qualities. Yeah, there was a curse. I'll try to remember
Okay.
that. Yeah. Yeah, Srila Madhvacharya covers this in his Bhagavata Tatparya Nirnaya. So
Okay.
I'll find out. Mataji.
Prabhuji, you can post it on the group if you find it. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Dandrat pranam, Hare Krishna.
प्रभु जी का क्वेश्चन था तो प्रभु जी जो बच्चा होता है उसका बुद्धि भी डेवलप नहीं होता है और उसका ज्ञान भी नहीं होता है तो दोनों हिसाब से वो इनोसेंट होता है बट देन जिनका बुद्धि नहीं होता है और ज्ञान नहीं होता है वो बच्चे जैसे इनोसेंस नहीं है दैट इज बिकॉज ऑफ सम अदर रीजन लाइक इधर दे आर अंडर डेवलप्ड इट ऑल कम्स बैक टू द कर्मा थियरी तब राइट बच्चे का बुद्धि और ज्ञान दोनों नहीं होता है जैसे एक मेल बॉडी फीमेल बॉडी डिस्टिंग्विश करना होता है उसका दोनों नहीं होता है तब जब बच्चा होता है सो स्लोली वो उसका ज्ञान स्लोली बाद में आता है डेवलप होता है
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So let us close. You want to say anything? Reflection? Did you have anything? Reflection? Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vachakalpatarambhir Shakrapa Sindhu Bhir Vishnapatidana Pavani Vaishnav ki Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Kids shloka. Kids.
युक्तः विहारस्य युक्तः युक्तः चषस्य कर्मसु युक्तः स्वप्नवबोधस्य योगः भवति सुखः
Haribol.
युक्ताहारविहारस्य युक्तचेतस्य कर्मसु युक्ता स्वप्नावबोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखः. Translation: He who is ready. He who is regulated of his habits of eating and sleeping and recreation and work can mitigate these by practicing mitigate his material pain by practicing the yoga system.
Bunch.
युक्ताहारविहारस्य युक्तचेतस्य कर्मसु युक्तस्वप्नावबोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखः. He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate all material pains. By practicing the yoga.
युक्ताहारा विहारस्य युक्ता चेतस्य कर्मसु युक्तस्वप्नवबोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखः. Translation: He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate this material pain by practicing the yoga system.
युक्ताहार विहारस्य युक्तचेतस्य कर्मसु युक्तस्वप्नबोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखः. He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate his all material pain by practicing the yoga.
Hare Krishna. We are just reading the Srila Prabhupada quote for this week. 20th April. Cleanliness is next to godliness. This point should be very carefully observed. Then you will advance very quickly to the perfectional stage of Krishna consciousness. 21st April. I am very glad to learn that you are doing spiritual activities very nicely and you are always alert to see whether you are committing some offense. This is a very nice attitude. In rendering service to Lord Krishna and his representative, the spiritual master, we should always maintain this fearful attitude, which means carefully attention. This attitude will advance you progressively in Krishna consciousness. 22nd April. Nowadays, people are very fond of diving within the water and swim. This has become a fashion. So next life they are going to become fish. Yes, if you at the time of death, if you think of that, how to swim very nicely within the water, that means next life nature will give you a fish life. You get it. That is God's mercy. Why you artificially try to become a fish? You become actually fish. That is nature's gift. 23rd April. Krishna is dancing. You have seen similarly. Our position is simply dancing with Krishna and being happy. That is our position. But we have come to this material world to enjoy independently of Krishna. Therefore, we have been captured by the illusion energy. 24th April. If there is a little pain in the finger, I become so much disturbed because I have got intimate connection with this finger. Similarly, we have got intimate connection with Krishna and we are fallen. Therefore, Krishna also feels little pain and therefore he comes down. Krishna is feeling pain, so you become Krishna conscious, then Krishna will feel pleasant. 25th April. The difficulty is sometimes Krishna's Ashirvad, means blessing, may be just the opposite. Krishna will take away. So at that time they become atheist. 26th April. At Tirupati there are so many hills. From the distance place, your vision is not clear. You simply see something cloudy. The same hill, but if you make little further progress, you see the same hill greenish. And if you actually go in the same hill, you will find there are so many animals, men, and houses. Object is the same, but from different angle vision, it appears differently. Similarly, unless one can understand Krishna perfectly, he realizes the absolute truth as impersonal, Nirakara Brahma. Thank you. Jai Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki. Now we just reciting. You have anything to? Osaka? I mean the Mayapur in the India? Oh, okay. Okay, my dear devotees, the Prabhu said like everyone, the India had the Jammu Kashmir, Pahalgam has also like the killed some people. We have there is a lots of, that's why we are just praying for 3 times Krishna, Hare Krishna Mahamantra for the delivered from their souls. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you. Just a Mahaprasade mantra. Mahaprasade Govinde, Namo Brahmani Vaishnave, Shalpa Purnavatam Rajan, Vishwasanaiva Jayate, Sharira Abhidya Jal, Jarendriyata Hekal, Jibe Fele Vishaya Sagare, Tar Madhye Jibbayati, Loba Maya Sudurmati, Take Jeta Katina Samsare, Krishna Bara Dayamay, Hari Bare Jibba Jai, Saprasad Anna Dilabai, Shei Anna Mrita Pao, Sri Radha Krishna Guna Gao, Preme Dako Sri Chaitanya Nitai, Joy Nimai Joy Nitai, Joy Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Binda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Sri Radha Bindavan Chandra Mahaprasadam ki. Nitai Gaur Siddhanta Mande Hare.
Hare Hare Bol.
Thank you. Enjoy Prasadam now.